Hi folks, and welcome to Small World Layouts. My name's Jules. In this video I present to you the second instalment documenting my latest micro layout build. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome to Musgrave Hill, Part 2. In Part 1 I covered the hill construction, road laying, track painting and did a spot in the kitchen. If you missed it, go and check it out. Now I do like a focal point to a micro layout. Broccolitia has its ruins. Green Pike Station has its beacon pike. And now Musgrave Hill has its clock tower. Let me explain. I grew up in the north of England in the county of Cumbria in a town called Penrith. Penrith has a monument in the centre of town called the Musgrave Monument, built in 1861 by the Musgrave family in memory of their eldest son Philip, who died. Now, while scrolling through the internet one evening looking for inspiration, I found a company that made this. And I thought it bore a striking resemblance, or at least it could. After a bit of careful paint mixing, I was pleased with the resulting colour, and so it became the focal point and naming monument for the layout. Now, along with that, I built the station platform from the usual balsa and plasticard combination. The station is the Pico Station platform shelter. My favourite 3D printed walls from model railway bits got sprayed and weathered and glued into place. The bungalow is the Pico small cedarwood bungalow, which I added curtains to. But that large window at the front got me thinking, or should I say imagining. It's crying out for someone to be stood there, but then you wouldn't see inside his or hers front room. So I decided it needed a three-piece suite, of course. Now I made a floor pan to roughly scale and then cut the cushions from clear. Added armrests of cocktail sticks and painted the carpet. The sofa was eventually painted a nice 70s yellow. The outside of the bungalow had a bit of garden tendering at this point. First I marked out where the boundaries were going to go around the bungalow, then glued and scattered. Next it was time to add the grass. First to the monument gardens and then to the house. Satisfying Hoover shot. Just me? Oh well. More house transformations with the drive done. Note the hole for further electrics. This stuff's not just thrown together, you know. And then suddenly the cornfields were static grassed. Yes, I didn't film that, but presume WW Scenic static grass applicator, glue, the usual. I also tried to hide some of the wall joins to the pavement with the same static grass. Yes, there's a pavement now too, I forgot to film that. Plasticard, painted, marked. Anyway, static grass hid the join, and this turned out quite well, I thought. Garden was roughly finished with the grass and the drive, as well as Monument Park. Next, we remember the artistic advice that nature is never one colour of green. I started to use different scatters as texture and small lichen.
Potato, patata, tomato, tomato.
I find this really useful as branches or small bush stroke tree-like texture. Too much and I think it can date a layout a little, but I was happy with it here. There is also clump foliage from Jarvis Scenics going on. Great resources and very reasonably priced. The level crossing barriers with their lights and wires were fitted in place at this point. And so was the house. And Howard You may well meet Howard in future videos, if he's not been arrested before then. Now you remember that hole for the lights for the house? Well, it was time to add all the lights, and when I say all, there was a lot, and all had to be carefully marked to the individual switches in the loom, positive and negative for the LEDs. I made a loom and custom control box with a speed controller in it as well. It was a lot of work. What? Of course it worked first time. Well, it worked eventually. With streetlights and other electricity in place, I could really get to work on the scenic details. Fencing of all descriptions was added to give boundaries to places, as well as ballast to bed down the Cato track a little. What was to become the horse field got my special fence post and wiring combo applied to it. Plasticard rodding, 1mm, drilled, placed and cut to size. For the fence wire, strip a single strand of wire from 7-strand layout wire. It's always lying around. Then start knitting with a pair of tweezers. Actually quicker than it looks once you've got the first strand in place. Paint all the wire with Phoenix Precision Dark Rust paint. Really takes the shine out of the wire and improves the look, I feel. Either side of the station building had a gap to the tracks that needed sealing. I wanted a fence for kids to stand on and wave to the trains, so I tried something new with the leftover fence posts and some super thin cut balsa, bit of ballast underneath, and they turned out well. And now it's time for that well-known game show. Does it still fit? Featuring everyone's favourite Grandevil. Okay, hold the string. Are you looking at yourself?
Yes, I am.
Okay. String, please. How did it get knotted in 3 seconds and we've given it you?
Don't know.
Well, I don't know either. Never mind, I'm done now. That's so we can get it back out. Okay? Right, come on, Musgrave. And about there. I think it's better if I put my tongue in. Alright? And then the rock comes to about there. Oi.
Yeah.
Okay. And then some more rock. And thankfully, it still did fit. It was around this time that I started to do the real thinking behind the layout. What would that field be used for? Horse. But how would the horse get in there? Gate. I needed a gate, and for a gate I needed a gap that weren't there. Now the 3D printed walls are really good at being cut and shaped and painted and generally manipulated. So after a careful bit of measuring, well, a bit, I attacked it with a hacksaw blade. Well, that was a good game played slow. So next I got the retractable craft blade. That was better, especially with the addition of the hammer. Yes, it did get a bit stuck, but there we go. But eventually, gate gap. I used a scale model scenery 5-bar gate as I like them, and I have used them before. With the addition of gate posts and a bit of wall and field fettling, it looked and fitted great. Took a few goes, but eventually it was nice and snug. A little bit of gate mud, and all was good until the livestock arrived. Now back to the house. That needed boundary protecting, so a posh gate was fitted with a separate walk gate. That was very small and fiddly, but eventually very smart. Somebody is going to go and have a word with Howard. Now with the gate looking so smart, the house needed a garden gate, and a garden for that matter, so the flower beds were individually applied pieces of flock, the fence boundary got a little hedging, doorstep, and a flower or two around the back. And all that remained for the moment was a comprehensive lighting test. The station and the house are linked. Good night, Howard. Crossing lights flash beautifully. Street lights light. And possibly my favourite thing, the clock tower clock. Looks great. Now there will be a part 3 video to introduce you to the people of Musgrave Hill and a few of their stories, so look out for that. Thanks for watching, folks. Thanks for watching, and please click like and subscribe to the channel.